everybody. Thanks for stopping by Killer Off-Road Hobbies, your one-stop shop for RC fun. Let's do this. What's going on, everybody? Here is another first look video. And today we are focusing on the G-Made R1 Rock Buggy. This thing's sweet. Ever since I've seen this thing, from the first time I have seen this thing, I always wanted one of these. Always wanted one of these. Just never quite got to it. I actually don't go out rock crawling much and everything, but taking the low-C rock ray out after I modified it and rock crawling and seeing how well received that was, when I saw this up for bid on eBay, I threw a bid in on it and I actually won it, and I got a screaming deal on this. It was the kit version. This was not the ready to run version, and apparently the guy had never done a kit before, because when I got it, it was completely messed up, the way he put it together. But I tore it down and I just kind of went nuts on it. I should have done a first look before and show you guys everything I did, but here it sits. So we're just gonna go over how it is right now and what's gonna happen with this thing on the channel and everything. So to start out, we'll go over the top first and then the bottom of it, but we are going to go ahead and talk about the stuff that it came with first. Alright, so it came almost ready to run. It did come with 2 sets of tires and wheels. It came with the stock big iron G-Made tires on their 3-piece beadlock wheels. Now, I have heard relatively bad things about these tires. Like, they're not that good. They have a good tread design. The tread feels okay, and the rubber compound feels kind of it feels pretty soft, but at the same time, when you run your fingers over it, it doesn't feel like it's gonna grip very well. So the guy sent it with these tires, but on these wheels that are right here. They are beadlocks as well, but I had these sitting around from when I had my axle deadbolt and orange on orange, you know. So I just went ahead and took these tires off. What are these guys? See if I can see it. They are the Pro Line chisels. So I went ahead and took off the Pro Line chisels off of these wheels and put them on my wheels that match this this buggy very well. I also got a LED light kit with this for this guy. So it's got the lights in the front and in the rear here, which I just think is gonna look cool. I don't really run at night because I work nights, so they're just kind of on there. They are hooked up, everything works. Now, when I did get this thing, you know, it does have a lot of upgrades as well. So he sent me this whole parts box here. It did come with the skid plate and everything, and also he sent it with the rear steer kit and just all the spare parts that he had for it. So I was blown away to get this thing for such a good deal. Also, it came with these 2 Fly 1300 milliamp hour Venom 3S lipo packs with 30C discharge. So he sent me these, all these parts, 2 sets of tires, and the buggy that wasn't put together correctly. Yeah, for a super good deal. Super good deal. And then I just kind of went through and I fixed everything. So let's go over this thing front to back and then turn it over and go over what's underneath. Alright, so starting from the front here, we've got the heavy duty links. It does have a Sawvox waterproof servo. That is the SW-0231MG. digital servo. So that's the waterproof servo. Underneath this little panel here where these lights are over, we do have the Tekken FSR Rock Crawler ESC under there, little tiny cute little ESC. I also mounted my my Fly Sky receiver under there. That goes to my FS GT3B. I thought that would be a good transmitter to hook up to this thing with all the adjustability in it. Moving forward from that, we have the Tekken 35 turn motor. Now when I got this truck, it did come with a $10 35 turn motor from RC 4-wheel drive, just a real cheap, you know, and I did test it out, and during testing it stalled out on me as well. So I went ahead and I threw my Tekken motor in there that I had just sitting around. Another thing I skipped over was that it has this this front axle battery mounting plate on it right here. This is an upgrade. It does not come with this. Normally you would mount your battery back here. Alright, so moving forward from there, it's just kind of the cage, you know, he spray painted it bright orange, which I really dig. And then on the back, it's nothing crazy special. We just got the lights here, and then, you know, the rear axle, which he did send me the rear steer kit, which I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to hook up on this thing yet or not, but that will be addressed at a later date. Now when I got this thing, the shocks were set up horribly, and they were in the wrong spots. These shocks that were mounted here, you can either mount them here or here. These two front spots right here, they were mounted right here to this screw area right here. And then the rear shocks were mounted to the rear position, but the internal springs inside the shocks were not put together correctly. You know, it's not his fault really for what he did. You know, it's just kind of a kit, and newcomers and everything to kits, like I said, you got to take your time, read the manual. Okay, another thing before we turn this thing over is you can see how I have this steering link set up. It is kind of sticking out pretty far. It is up. It does kind of look wonky. But if you've ever seen anything about these, like Jang from UltimateRC.com, his review on this thing, you will know that this thing has a horrible turning radius. For some reason, this thing doesn't turn very well. Well, that's why it's set up like this. I did all permutations, tried everything with this servo horn and all of that, and the most steer I could get out of this thing was how it is set up right now, which is why I left it there. And another thing you might not be able to see, maybe now, is the front is wider than the rear. And I did that because these wheels I put on here are actually not negative center, so they don't set the tires out. They're just have the normal center, which puts these tires really close in here. So what I did was I put 20mm spacers on both sides to widen the front out, and it actually did help my turning radius instead of hurting it, which I think is awesome. And I'm going to run it like this, and then I'll try it with the same spacers in the rear. I'm also going to run this thing, for the first time when I run this thing, I'm going to run it with the stock tires, and then I'm going to put these tires back on because these tires actually are weighted. And I think there's 2 ounces in each rear tire, and there's 5 ounces in each front tire, which helps with that articulation. Because these shocks are not the best. I actually already did order a set of shocks to put on this thing. Alright, now flipping it over. You will see that it does have the front and rear differential skid plates. It does have the high clearance links right here, which is an upgrade. It doesn't come with those. But the biggest thing on this thing right now is something I did, which I ordered the Delrin skid plate, the center skid plate here. Normally these links are outside here. They're mounted to these holes on the outside, which doesn't triangulate your suspension. So when you're actually crawling and binding up in rocks or anything, the axles tend to shift back and forth because they don't have very much rigidity because of where the links are mounted. Now, one thing I did notice about that was it did take away some of my articulation, but it is a much better setup, and this thing doesn't crab crawl up stuff anymore. So another thing about this truck is that, probably be better to show you right here, is you can see the axle shaft, or yeah, the axle shafts are right here, but it drops down on the outside. That's what's called a portal axle. So you have the high center of you have the high clearance in the center here, allowing you to drive over bigger rocks, but on the outside the axles are set down, and that's what gives you that center clearance underneath your differential. And as you can see, you know, you can drive over something pretty big, almost drive over this tire, when if that was just straight, you would have a lot less. So another thing that came with this truck are these steel drive shafts. He actually got the steel drive shafts, the upgraded ones, because the stock ones are plastic and they do tend to bind and pop, not break, but pop out under stress. So that is a huge upgrade. That is almost a must-have right there. And once again, if you've ever seen Jang from Ultimate RC's review on this vehicle, he talks about that exact thing. Now, like I said, I am going to run this thing with these non-weighted stock tires first. This thing is 2 and 3S capable, but I do have these 2 3S packs that I will probably just run with it. Like I said, this is an upgrade right here, but you just mount your battery right on that plate like that, and then, you know, cinch it down and then plug it in, and that gives you more weight bias in the front, along with not having your battery pack up high, giving you a higher center of gravity. So like I said, I have been wanting one of these forever, since the first time I saw the review on Ultimate RC channel, on James channel. I have wanted one of these, and I finally got an opportunity to get one. And not only did I get one, but I got a pretty highly modified one in getting this. You know, I had to mess with it a little bit, but I am just pumped on this. Since the crawler idea didn't go through with the raffle, I am actually thinking about getting a comparable crawler to compete with this thing. And I was thinking about asking you what you guys think about me putting this up against the Red Cat Everest, the 10, not the Gen 7, the 10, because that is a purposely made rock crawler. But the cool thing about it is this kit is $250 in the kit version, and I think it's almost $500 for the ready to run. Now, with the stuff that's in this, it's got high level electronics, you know, with the Savox servo and the Tekken system in it. But at the same time, you know, I'm not sure about this thing's crawling capabilities versus, you know, the Red Cat Everest 10. So I am really strongly thinking about getting an Everest 10 and putting it up against this buggy here. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Please thumb up this video if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Subscribe if you're new here. Stay tuned to Killer Off-Road Hobbies. We got a ton more coming at you, people. Ton more coming at you. And as always, check out the description where you can find a link to this t-shirt that I'm wearing right here. Or if you want to get in on any ongoing or upcoming raffles, the donation link is down there. It's $5 a ticket. You can buy up to 20 tickets, and you'll be in the raffle. All right, everybody, this is Gary saying get out there, get an RC, go have some fun, and we'll see you right back here on the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and peace!